Hello and welcome to Patrick's Models and Transport. Right, what's happening tonight, or shall we say this morning, it's 1 o'clock. I've been sitting here making registration plates for the Bedford ML. So here's the Bedford ML, which is still to receive its front and rear number plates. And here are the front and rear number plates. I'm going to use, this is a pointer, front plate, rear plate. So I know where to position them, that's not a problem. The rear plate goes down here. It gets fitted onto the chassis dead iron at the back. I've had a look at various videos. The thing is that I don't want after. Another thing, we still have to design the exhaust pipe, but today, or shall we say yesterday, because now it's already tomorrow or today, I was too busy. We were going flat out all day, plus an evening lesson. So after the evening lesson, I decided to sort of relax before going to bed, thinking up, maybe make a video and try and solve this problem here. So what am I doing? I use Publisher to do this job. I just use Publisher. I actually have Microsoft Paint on the old computer, the old laptop, the Windows 8. It has a problem with the monitor. I have to connect it to an external monitor. I have to get that repaired. I'll have to get it repaired because it's a very good computer for working offline for photography, and it's also compatible with my old scanner, which also does slides that I'm not planning to change. Anyway, so I'm using Publisher. Publisher is very good, very good, because I've calculated here it is, the PT. So if I go, sorry, I've already made a video talking about these boring things in the past. So the PT is 0.32 millimeters. So I can calculate, so we have here, for example, let's go back on this file here, dimension 4, more or less, that's a millimeter. This is just the typical British car registration font that I found somewhere and saved it on this file. And I'm using actually Jill Sans MT, because Jill Sans MT in bold is compatible for old style registration plates, as in this photograph here. Let's have a look here. This one here, where there's a Bedford ML. This is a photo from Flickr, if I don't remember. It's from Flickr. It's from Flickr, and you can see that this has got a very similar. It's very similar to Jill Sans MT. This is the classic registration plate font, and I can't remember what that is right now, but you can recognize it, for example, on this other photograph here. This is the blue, this is my own photograph, the one of the Bedford O at the Scottish Vintage Bus Museum in 2000 or 2001, I don't remember. And so I decided to go for a simpler font, which is the kind of font that you would find on a Routemaster bus or on an Edinburgh Lothian bus. You'd find this simple font here, which is related to Jill Sans MT. Anyway, or Jill Sans MT is the closest one. On the OOC Corgi bus, we've got the typical car registration font. Let's see if it's going to focus. You can see here and here at the back. Okay, anyway, so I did all my measurements. I decided that PT4 is okay, and that's fine. The only problem is that I can't align, working on Publisher, I can't align because the rear number plate is a square, the front number plate is a rectangle, so I can't really align this right underneath where it should be, because there's not a great big space like that. Let's have a look at the photograph on a real book. This is a great book if you like buses, and Albion Album by Robert Greaves on the Albion truck and lorry manufacturer in Glasgow, Scotland. So I'm having a look in this book here. I want to show you a rear number plate, square British rear plate, there it is, FYS 520, and there isn't a great big enormous space between the top line and the bottom line. So how am I going to sort this thing out? Because I'm not planning to go bonkers, you know, trying to get bring out the other laptop, connect the monitor to it. Oh no thanks. And I'm also not planning to make a decal. I'm planning to actually cut this off out of paper, simply because I have laser printer decal paper, but it's transparent, so I could easily print black on transparent. To be able to obtain white on a black background, as in this is a Broom Fiat 500 C Topolino. This belonged to me since I was a kid. The number plate had gone and everything. I decided to restore it, and I made a Padova PD7 5725 number plate here, registration plate at the back. And to get those white letters, I applied a spot of white marker pen to the number plate holder, and then I've applied the decal on top, and it works. But here we're working at 1/43 scale, so this is a bigger scale. It's easier, no? In this case, we're working at 1/76 scale, which is not so simple. So what am I going to do? I'm simply going to front number plates, easy. I'll fit the number plates, the actual physical number plate holders to the lorry. They're already painted, and the lorry's painted, so it'll be glue and glaze in this case here. And then I'll glue the number plates on. This is easy, on the rectangular one, front number plate. And here at the back, I'll cut them. I'll have to be very careful, and I'll cut them in two parts, and then mount them together, gluing them on here, still with glue and glaze. I might not do this in camera because it might be just, you know, pretty boring and not very exciting thing to see, and maybe there would be quite a lot of swear words, so you could let me swear off camera, and definitely for this one here. But so that's a plan. That's what I'm going to do. And then at the end, once I've got once I glue them on with glue and glaze, I'll just apply some varnish to them, just to give them a more glossy effect, shiny, you know, like a proper number plate should be, and to get rid of this matte effect of the paper, just normal paper. Because this is also a cheap solution, because if I make mistakes, I'm throwing away, or I'll be recycling, because I'll be writing notes at the back of it, just a normal sheet of A4 paper. I'm not throwing away a sheet of decal paper, because that would be a waste of money, and there's no point in using a decal sheet if you're going to make, you know, one tiny wee number plate. And this here being black, white on a black background, simplifies my life. Okay, so that's that for the moment. This is the Bedford ML. It's looking rather nice. I'm very pleased about this. I'm really pleased, considering the I'll show you on its stand. Let's call this a stand. Here's a stand over here. It's considering the how complicated and how badly moulded it was, with the paint on and everything. I'm very pleased. I'm really very pleased about the result. Also because I've been looking, to understand where to fit the number plates, the back in particular, the rear number plate. I've been looking through in my quite a lot of photographs, online videos, on Flickr, and now I've worked out where to fit the number plate. But I saw quite a few photographs of these Coopercraft Bedford MLs assembled, in particular on Flickr. And yes, let's say that it's not a model for beginners, because if you begin with something like this, or if you don't have, enough, I won't say, experience, yes, experience maybe, or acquired skills in time, and you have to have the knack of improvising with a thing like this, because it was pretty terrible. You remember the gaps on the roof, the gaps between the bonnet and the wings, the gaps between the bonnet and the radiator grill. So there was a bit of a disaster. I remember it being a bit of a disaster, but it's actually quite nice. Rather pleased about this. Okay, anyway, that's that for the moment. I'm not patting myself on the back, but it came well. I have to admit that it came well. I'm rather pleased with it. And I've always liked the Bedford, these lorries here. I like all sorts of vehicles, but I like bonneted lorries. So this will be the next thing we're doing. And here's a couple of a book review. I can show you a book review in the meantime. It's a sort of funny video, this one here, 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:10 video. So here's a couple of another book by Robert Greaves, Around Scotland by Bus. This is another very nice book. And then I have another book, if you are into buses. This is by Phil Hillwood, Glasgow Atlanteans, 60 Years of the LA, because Glasgow was, and this was published by Glasgow Vintage Vehicle Trust in Bridgeton. And I've been to the Glasgow Vintage Vehicle Trust various times. I have friends who are members, and it's an absolutely fantastic museum. Bus museum in Glasgow, a trust. There are vehicles belonging to the Glasgow Vintage Vehicle Trust and vehicles belonging to private owners. They really organise great events, and this is a fantastic book for the 60th anniversary of Glasgow buses. Now that's a Glasgow bus as I remember them when I was a kid. And then later on, Strathclyde Red, or shall we say orange, and there. Nice book. This is a very good book. So if you're into buses, you probably might even find this. But just look up Glasgow Vintage Vehicle Trust. Okay, cheerio, and see you next time. Get this lorry finished. Ciao, ciao.